One of the main things that we all do is we take our thoughts and we begin to use them against ourselves. When we think about doubt, a lot of times we think that doubt is the absence of belief, but it's actually not. Doubt is actually a belief. It's a belief that things won't work. It's a belief that things won't go right. And so we have to understand there are 6 tragic ways that we begin to exercise self-doubt, and it stops us from fulfilling our dreams, from making more money, from having the enjoyment that we want in life, and it causes us even to affect those that are around us. And it is time to break these down, because each one of these must be destroyed if you really want the life that you want. Let's find out about number 1. All right, the first way that we use self-doubt to actually hurt ourselves is by doubting our abilities. All right, so when we think about the first way that doubt really begins to impact us, it has 2 things that I want you to keep in mind. It has to do with capacity, and it has to do with competence. When we think about capacity, we doubt that we have the capacity to do things. I want you to understand that we all have the capacity to do things, to accomplish things. We have to get past those limiting beliefs that makes us think that we can't do something that we've not even tried. So we want to understand that that whole feeling that you can't do something is a false belief. It's something that's not really real. And then on top of that, we think about competence. How competent am I at doing the thing? My skill level, my ability to perform a job, my ability to do a specific activity. And the reality is, we will be bound and we will be stuck thinking that we don't have the ability when we really do. So we want to stop ourselves from doubting the abilities that we do have. We have the capacity to do that thing. We are competent enough to do that thing. And stop listening to the voice that tells you that you can't do what you know you can do. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew how to do something, and then when the moment of truth came, you got nervous and you weren't your normal self? And later on, you go home and say, why was I acting that way? I could have done it better. I could have said it better. I know I have the ability to do that. It's because we doubted what we could do, even though we could do it. And that is why we just can't let that happen. It's time now to explore even more about doubt. The second way that we begin to use self-doubt to hurt ourselves is we actually doubt our self-worth. The first thing that we need to understand is, what does worth even mean? Worth is the measurement of value. What something is worth is literally directly related to the value that we feel is associated with it. Now, when we have doubt about our worth, it's because we don't think there's enough in us that is valuable. And we have to change that. We have to destroy that. And the way that we do that is not just sitting down thinking happy thoughts and believing in yourself. It's by putting more things in you that you know are of value. So when I begin to change my mindset, when I begin to improve my skill set, when I begin to gather more tool sets to give me more things to work with, I become a stronger asset. And as an asset, I am now something that has value. So no matter how the winds blow, no matter when you feel like you're stuck somewhere and you can't get out, the reality is, when you know there's worth within you, you will carry yourself with confidence. You will talk as if you know you matter, and you will look people in the eye and be able to declare very clearly why you matter and what you bring to the table. So we have to destroy this. We have to stop this. We have to begin to declare war on worth when it comes from a mindset of doubt, because all of us have something that makes us valuable, and we can increase that by investing in ourselves. The third way that we use doubt to hurt ourselves is we doubt our potential. All right, check out this tree. Now, there's 2 ways of looking at this tree. This tree could be something that is overshadowing me, keeping me in the shadows and in the darkness, or I could look at it as something that is a beautiful, organic, system of growth. And when you think about this, when we think about our potential is literally our capacity to grow. And when you have doubt about your ability to grow, you are holding yourself back from everything that you can become. And it's becoming that is really going to be the end result of what you get in life. It's all about be, do, have. We want to have, but to have, we must do something to have that. But to do it, we must become the person that is willing to do it. So when we think about this tree again, we want to actually have enough room to spread our wings, room to spread our leaves, to be able to grow and take in the sun and go through our own personal photosynthesis that allows us to keep moving and expanding in our life, in our business, in our career, whatever that thing may be, and ultimately even our wealth. And that all begins with overcoming those doubtful thoughts that says you don't have the potential to be great. You don't have the potential to make more money. You don't have the potential to lose weight, to be more fit. You don't have the potential to actually be respected by your peers. All of those are lies. They're thoughts that come from down deep inside, but yet we can reach for something deeper that really begins to remind us that we are a creature that can keep growing and expanding. And this is why we say CEO. We must charge, expand, and we must keep overcoming. This is why you must destroy the doubtful thought of, I don't have the potential. All right, the fourth way that we doubt ourselves is we actually doubt our ability to have the strength to get through things in life. You know, when you think about all that we have to walk over and get through and all the things we have to come through to actually begin to get through life, you know, when we begin to doubt our strength, we don't realize how magnificent we are made. Not only the way God made the human body, but did you know that there are so many people that rose above their expectations, whether it was in war or in sports, or anyone who rose above a situation that they thought was impossible to overcome. You know, there's a strength that we all have when we decide to be strong. So we want to just fight these thoughts that tell us, I can't get through this one, not this one. This time I don't have enough in me. I'm not sufficient enough inside to weather this storm. Well, the reality is we can be as strong as our mindset is. And when we begin to set our mind toward being strong, we will get a result of the strong. So I want you to think deeply about all the different things that it's willing to fight for. What are those things that are willing to keep going for? What are those reasons that we just can't quit and give up? And when you feel like that it's not worth the fight or worth the struggle, you have to overcome those thoughts with thinking higher than where you are now, giving yourself a reason to get up and swing. You know, every individual that lost that something, that willingness to fight for something, they act different, they behave different. Even people who are athletes and they're in a game, I've seen so many people that they get up and their score is real high and they start playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And you can approach your life that way. And it doesn't release the strength that you have. When you realize that there was a real threat to you, you rise up to it. So we want to begin to place the threat in the right place. We don't want to become our own enemy. We want the enemy to be the things that try to get in our way from being successful. So be strong and start in the mind and end up in your hands and feet. Walking toward and fighting whatever will stop you from getting where you know you need to go. The fifth way that we doubt ourselves is we actually doubt our future because of the past. You see this lock right here, and it's even old and rusty. I want you to think about the fact that we all have this lock, and it's a lock on our past. We can either throw away the key or we can go in there every day and look at that past. But I want you to understand something. Many times we think that the past shapes our future. And because of that, there's no way to change that because the past already happened. The past is already what it is. But the reality is this. We have to begin to use our present to begin to change the past. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you understand that wherever you're at in life today will allow you to look at the past through a different perspective. See, when you begin to grow and you begin to mature and you look back at things that happened to you in your life, the next thing you know, you start to redefine what those things mean. You redefine actually what it actually did. You know, some of the things that hurt me the deepest, some of those things that impacted me in the worst way, so I thought, are the very things that made me grow, the things that helped me to become more successful and more wealthy, all because of the things that I thought were so bad. So be careful about the locks that you put on your future because of the past. in reality, it is your present today and your maturity today that will help you redefine the past to begin to set a goal for a better future. This is why we have to destroy the doubt of actually believing that we can allow our future to be impacted by the past. We're going to take that past and make it mean something different today. And now it is time for the last way that I'm going to talk about how doubt hurts us. And this is number 6, that we doubt our opportunities. Now, check out this just beautiful palm tree and think about it. You know, this started out as just a little seed, and then it grew into this tall tree that you see standing, and it's able to stand even in the wind. And I want you to think about, you know, when we doubt our opportunities, we're literally doubting our ability to grow as tall as possible. You know, we have to make investments. Each one of those investments are seeds. We invest in our skill set. We invest with our money. We invest with our time in things that actually bring opportunity to our life. See, when we keep doubting our opportunity, we never have a chance to advance in life, because you won't be able to do anything without investment, without taking a risk. Without a risk, there can never be a return. So we want to take this mindset that doubts every time there's an opportunity in front of us to grow and to expand. We want to just destroy that. We want to stop thinking that way. And we want to know for sure the next time you have a chance to invest, you have a chance to grow, make sure you don't have all the doubts in your mind of what can go wrong. Instead, think about what could go right and look at the return on the investment and not the cost of the investment. We think about returns as people of growth and not what we might lose. Don't let your opportunities be stopped. Keep them growing. So when you think about this and you wonder, you know, out of all you've learned from this episode and how can I actually deal with self-doubt, we take it one step at a time. You know, every time we think about change, we think it's this big, big thing we need to do. And we forget that what we really need to do is start. And when we start, we begin to create momentum. And when momentum comes in, eventually it becomes just something that we're doing as a matter of habit, and we start to become what we really want to become. Listen, I know how it is to think that you can't really make a change. But the reality is, we would change when we really want to change. When we actually make our mind up that there's no more room for what we used to do, that's when everything begins to change. So when you think about doubt, I want you to replace those doubting beliefs with some beliefs that now are substantively based on things you've really done. When you make an effort and when you put the right work in, then you can believe because you've put the work in. What I love about great athletes like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, when they got in those moments when the clock was running down and it was time to shoot that shot, they weren't nervous because they had practiced it so much. They had worked on it so much that when the moment came, they knew this was just another time they were doing what they had already done. So what does that mean? Practice thinking better. Practice looking at yourself better. Stop saying things about yourself that tear yourself down. Speak better about yourself. Get around positive people who are trying to go where you're trying to go. Stop wasting time thinking about things with a spirit of anxiety versus anticipation. You can't tell the future, so you might as well think about the future being brighter than being darker. All of these things, little by little, step by step, will cause you to overcome these 6 negative traps of self-doubt and be the person that you can really become, because now your mind is made up to do so. I want to thank you for being on this episode where you are a CEO. Remember to charge, expand, overcome. We still believe that you run the business of you, and there's nothing you can't do when you make your mind up to do it.